Hi, everyone. I am Doreen Tannenbaum with Procurement Services, and today Stephanie Ching and I are going to be going over the small business first, followed by a presentation from one of our Supplier Showcase Platinum sponsors, Manhattan Stitching. We're going to end each session with a Q&A. For the recording of today's session, it's going to be sent out via email and available on the Procurement Services website by next week. The slides are available now, so you can access them from the calendar invite as well as from the training page on our website. Next slide, please. I'd like to announce that we have a new UCLC training course called Procurement Fundamentals, which is mandatory for all department buyers. You can access it by logging into UCLC and searching for Procurement Fundamentals in the search bar to register. Please complete this training by March 6th to ensure that you have buyer access role in the new UCI Buy Plus. And if you run into any issues, and a few people have, please send me an email personally, and I will make sure you're able to advance to the next slide. You can reference any training videos or guides through the training section of our website, which can also be found in the blue bar at the top of our website. If you or your department would like to schedule a personalized training session on any given topic, open up a ServiceNow request and click on the request training at the end of the dropdown, and we can schedule that for you. Next slide, please. So just a reminder that we are hosting our biweekly office hours every other Tuesday from 9 to 10 a.m. We will have one next week, so please come with any questions you may have or go through any live demos and website updates with us. You can send me an email to be included on the calendar invite. And we end the sessions early if we don't receive any questions in the first 15 minutes. So next slide, please. UCI Buy Plus is launching on April 30th. Yay! With dedicated training or April 13th, not 30th, sorry, with dedicated training sessions scheduled. An important note to make is that you need to make sure to submit any of your requisitions requiring central procurement approval by Thursday, March 26th. Okay. There will be a temporary downtime from March 30th through April 10th as we go through that technical transition to the new system. But you will have access to PAL cards. They're going to continue to operate normally during that transition period, and limits are going to be temporarily increased to $10,000. So please review the dates on this slide and keep an eye open for Zot mails with any additional communications from our team. I do want to highlight one last point that any requisitions or purchase orders that are not fully approved by that deadline will be invalid and will have to be resubmitted in the new UCI Buy Plus system on April 13th or afterwards. Next slide, please. So we want to have you aware of some of the various policies that we're required to adhere to. So please familiarize yourself with the ones listed here, especially the recently updated BUS 43. That's the policy that covers all the purchasing of goods and services at University of California. Also remember that you're not allowed to sign any agreements on behalf of UCI. Please reach out to our team for assistance on how to navigate through contracts or agreements for your department. Next slide, please. So today, Stephanie and I are going to be going over the Small Business First program with a short Q&A, followed by a presentation from one of our small business partners and our supplier showcase platinum sponsor, Manhattan Stitching. We're going to be following that with questions for that presentation. Next slide. So, small business first. I'd like to go over that this policy is what it is about, and I want to also clarify that when I use small business, I also mean disabled veteran business enterprise. So small business is a UC initiative, and it started in 2021 to help make an economic impact in our local community. Since we launched it at UCI, I'm really proud to say that we've had an average spend of approximately $50 million annually on our local small businesses over the last few years. So round of applause for everyone. Thank you for your support on this program. Why is this important? So in California, we have over 4 million small businesses representing almost 99.9% of all businesses in the state. Okay, that's pretty impressive. These businesses employ about 7.5 million workers, which account for nearly half of the private sector workforce in the entire state. For many small business owners, every sale contributes directly to their ability to cover their personal and family expenses. And there's also that sustainability aspect by reducing our carbon footprint as well as supporting sustainable practices since the small businesses generally generate less waste per unit of sale. We hope to continue to grow these numbers year after year and serve as a strategic partner to our local and small and diverse businesses. Um, so the policy requirement behind this program falls under UC Policy BUS 43, and it requires that all non-construction and non-federally funded purchases between 10,000 and 250,000, and that's excluding tax, but that includes the shipping, they cannot be procured anywhere using a strategically sourced agreement. It must be awarded to a certified small business or a disabled veteran business enterprise. So we'll just require one quote for the certified small business for purchases under $100,000. So that 10 to 100,000, and two quotes from certified small businesses for purchases from that 100 to 250,000. Next slide. We've outlined the small business process on our website, and you can follow the steps to make sure that your purchase complies with the policy. We know that you're probably not the decision maker for your department, and we encourage you to send this presentation to your department leadership to share it with the decision makers. We can also set up personalized training sessions for your decision makers. Stephanie's been really great doing that. And at the top of our Small Business First website, that you're going to find a process map and an exemption list with the full definition, and examples of what qualifies as an exemption. I really urge you to check that list first. I can't tell you how many waivers I've received where the purchase is actually exempt and didn't need all the additional backup for the waiver submitted. And that's creating administrative burden for yourselves as well. Contracted suppliers, we have an extensive list of contracted suppliers, meaning suppliers that have likely gone through that RFP process and were awarded an official contract with UC or UCI. If you can't find a contracted supplier, we also have a list of certified small businesses that are already onboarded at UCI. And we encourage you to look through that list to find a supplier in the various commodities that we have listed at the bottom there. Now, let's say you can't find a small business. There are ways to look up a certified small business online, either through the California State database or from a list of national small businesses. And then let's say you still can't find a certified small business. This is something, a new step we've actually added, and I encourage you to reach out to the supplier and ask them to become certified. I'm going to go over this process more in depth in an upcoming slide, but there are a lot of instances where the small business supplier can actually get certified. And then let's say the supplier does not qualify and none of the exemptions apply. Then you can use the waiver form. But remember that waivers are only granted on an exceptional basis. And then we have training videos on how to conduct the searches in step 8 and FAQs on the last step. Next slide, please. So I know it's really hard to see my screen, so please look through the process map, which guides you through your purchase order. The current process is still on our website, but we're going to switch over to this new process once we go live in April. Next slide, please. I want to highlight some exemptions. So again, I have all the exemptions linked on the top of our website. And the sole source applies when there's truly one source in the entire world that can fulfill the purchase requirement. This mostly applies to products where changing the brand or the manufacturer is going to compromise the project. This mainly applies to research projects and some software purchases, and these are all non-federally funded. Okay. Another exemption is that unique personal or professional service. And these are very specific qualifications that the selected vendor will provide. Previously working with a vendor does not make them unique, unfortunately. Personal services are jobs that include coaching, editing, translation services, and even performing arts. And then the professional services are typically performed by someone who has a professional license. These are attorneys, medical doctors, accountants, or engineers. One example I like to share is if your department has worked with a photographer for the last 20 years to provide your faculty headshots. This is not a unique service. There are many other small business photographers that can fulfill this request. So I would urge you to either get that photographer certified or uh, ask the ask for a different photographer to be used that's small business certified because that purchase is not going to fall under the exemption. Emergencies. These are literal emergencies. And I want you to take a minute and read what that is. The lack of planning does not constitute an emergency justification. So we get that question every now and then. Well, this is an emergency. We didn't plan for this. Unfortunately, that's not going to work. Okay. And purchasing through existing strategically sourced agreements. We have these listed on our website under the procurement tab, and they're listed as contracted suppliers. If you're using any of these vendors or purchasing through a catalog in UCI Buy or UCI Buy Plus, you're going to be exempt from the policy. Next slide, please. So a purchase using even 1 penny on federal funds is exempt. A lot of waiver requests come through for purchases on federal funds, and these all get voided, and all that additional work gets deleted. And so I don't want you to have to go through that. Just take a look at these exemptions that we've provided to help reduce that administrative burden. The design and construction purchases are also exempt. Sorry. Please review the UC facilities manual linked here and also on our website for further guidance. And there are some other exemptions to Small Business First that you can read. However, these exemptions are typically not used. I don't think I've really seen much of that in the last 4 years, 5 years actually. We launched this in March of 2021. And I'm going to turn it over now to Stephanie.
Hi, hello everyone. So your first step before purchasing anything is going to be looking through our contracted supplier list, as Doreen had previously mentioned. Any of the suppliers on this list is exempt from Small Business First. Please note, though, that just because a vendor is listed in KFS and when UCI Buy Plus does go live, it does not mean they are a contracted supplier. In UCI Buy Plus specifically, only suppliers with integrated catalogs in the system are guaranteed to be contracted suppliers. So with current system, UCI Buy, all the suppliers on UCI Buy they have the catalog, so they're fine to use. Being listed in KFS simply just means they've been onboarded in the past, but they don't necessarily have a valid agreement in place. Also, if KFS denotes that they are a certified small business, you still need to check if their certificate is active. There are many vendors with expired certificates in KFS, so please don't think that picking a vendor from KFS automatically means they meet or are exempt from the policy. So we have populated a list of almost 200 small business and disabled veteran business enterprise certified vendors already onboarded on KFS. So on our vendors list, you're going to scroll through the various commodities at the bottom right corner of the spreadsheet, which we've denoted by the red circle on your screen. If you have worked with a certified supplier that isn't listed on here, please, and you're pleased with their product or service, please let us know and we can add them to the list. All of the suppliers on this list have pledged competitive prices and excellent customer service. So if you are not happy with a supplier, please let us know so we can take appropriate action. If you can't find a certified supplier through the previous methods, then more suppliers through Supplier.io / Explorer Professional. This is the UC Supplier Database Search tool that is accessible through single sign-on, or through Cal eProcure. This is going to be the state of California's supplier search database. There are videos on how to search both databases on our website. And when conducting searches on these platforms, use keywords for the commodity you're looking for. For example, let's say you want to work with a vendor named OC Web Developers. You can first search their name to see if they have a certification through either of the databases. However, if they're not certified or they don't show up on these databases, you need to find other web developer suppliers. This is going to be done by using web developer as the keyword for the search. Take screenshots of your search results if you're unable to find a supplier for your desired commodity. I'm going to go out of this presentation and I'm going to do a little demo on what areas in the new UCI BUY Plus are related to small business first, specifically our purchasing request form. So one moment while I bring that up. All right, so hopefully most of you have done the UIT testing, but for those who have not, for any non-catalog purchase, you are going to need to complete what we call a purchasing request form. More training on all of this and more in-depth information about that in separate trainings. For now, I'm just going to show you what triggers small business on this purchasing request form. So in this general tab, first you'll select standard PO as the order type. And very importantly, this is the primary section that triggers. So for this question on if any parts of the purchase are going to be paid from federal funds, you will say no, meaning they're non-federal funds. And we have it split into these two different thresholds. So this is because the tab for the non-federal funds is going to look a little bit different depending on which threshold you choose. So for the $10,000 to $100,000, I'm going to just go ahead, save progress, just like KFS, save. We're going to go to non-federal funds. And you'll see that the first question is if you're using contracted supplier. If so, you just put in contract number. But if not, this is where you're going to get more in-depth questions. So if you're using a certified small business, you will be prompted to attach the small business certification and the quotes in this attachments tab right here. And if you're using a small business exemption, you're just going to go ahead and select which exemption applies. And if you are utilizing a small business waiver, you will be prompted to complete a PDF version, and you're going to upload that to the attachments. There will be a help text available similar to this. We're still finalizing a lot of, not a lot. We're fine-tuning the final touches of our system. All right. So as I mentioned, that was for that 10,000 to 100,000. Now for 100 and 250,000, let's go ahead. Save often. Going to non-federal. So the focus on this is actually going to be on this SSPR forms, or our source selection price reasonableness. Hopefully you will complete it and say yes. And the primary reason for this is you are either utilizing the two certified small businesses of which you'll be asked, did you find the two? And then you'll be prompted to attach the quotes and to attach the certifications, or any of these other SSPR selections. They are actually exemptions under this first program anyways. So it's better just to have this SSPR, right? And then if you do not have the quotes from at least two small businesses, you will be prompted to complete a waiver for why that second quote was not available. And you are attaching just your completion of the waiver because the approval process is actually integrated into the workflow of the requisition. So at the very end, you'll see there's review and submit. This is to attach it to your cart. You'll submit the cart as a requisition, and the workflow of the requisition is where that approval is going to happen. All right. So now I'm just gonna go back over to our presentation and going to hand it over to Doreen for more info.
Thanks, Stephanie. So we have our supplier small business page that details all the requirements for obtaining a free certificate. And it can be found through the supplier section at the top of our website, and then clicking on the supplier small business program. Or if you get to the staff small business page, there's also a link at the top of that that will take you to that page as well. I recently worked with a department and had a Zoom call with the supplier to get them through the California certification process. We helped him upload his information to the system, and he got certified within minutes of submitting his application. So it's actually a really simple process, and it doesn't cost the supplier anything to get certified. The California certification is valid for 2 years, and it can be renewed very quickly if they still qualify. If the supplier is out of state, we also have a list of other certifying bodies that they can apply through. I know that there are a few of you that can attest to how quickly a supplier can get certified once they've gone through the application process. And the states really try to make that process so simple that anyone can apply and get certified. If a supplier does need help, please have them email smallbusiness@uci.edu, and Stephanie and I will go through the process with them. Next slide, please. So currently, our waiver process goes through a DocuSign link on our website. But as you saw, when we go live with the UCI Buy Plus, Stephanie showed us how the small business process is embedded in the purchase. And there's going to be a PDF link for the waiver form for you to download, fill out, sign, and then upload to the system with your backup documentation. So here's some tips to fill out that waiver form completely. I would recommend not abbreviating your department name. I don't always know what that means. Make sure to take screenshots of your search results in the Supplier IO or the Cali Procure to document how you have looked for a small business to make sure that you're complying with the policy. And then that SSPR form is required for any purchase over that $100,000. Next slide, please. So after it seems like we've made you jump through a lot of hoops, we're aware that there's some purchases that just don't fall under any of the previous requirements. And in those instances, a waiver may be requested. You'll need to show that you've gone through, again, all of the previous steps on the website to before requesting a waiver. This includes the email communications with other suppliers, requesting quotes and screenshots of your search results, requesting for a supplier to get certified, and if they don't qualify, having them write that. Next slide, please. And moving forward, we really urge you to contact us as early as possible in the purchasing process to see if we can help find a supplier or certify a selected supplier if they qualify. Again, it takes less than 48 hours for the supplier to get certified through the state of California if they have all their documents ready. We've also developed that guide for our website on the website for suppliers to get certified through the state and through other states. You can guide them to the top of the procurement website and to the tab for the suppliers. There's also additional resources for them to see how they could do business with UCI and also small business insurance if they don't have the insurance requirements. Next slide, please. So some resources available for you. And next slide, please. And we're going to open up the floor for some questions. And then if we have additional time at the end of the presentation, we can go through some more questions. Any questions? Does anyone want to unmute or type in the chat? Stephanie, we have one for you. Where do we find Take UIT testing?
Yes, so the UIT testing it was actually a little while recent where we had select department buyers, financial approvers from departments. We had these sessions where we have the UIT, which is the testing environment link, and they went around, played with it for our user acceptance training. So this was to kind of work out all the bugs that were in the system. And we are going to have trainings coming up. If you haven't received communication regarding that, please let us know so we can forward you the information. There's trainings for the different roles, and believe some departments are going to have separate trainings as well. So please let us know if you haven't received those invitations. I do see another question. If the onboarding process via PaymentWorks give new vendors the option to get certified, I don't believe that is integrated in PaymentWorks right now. Though,
Correct.
okay.
However, if they do have their certificate, they are able to upload it into PaymentWorks.
I have a question whenever the next one's available.
That it's all you, Will.
All right. My role is to put purchase orders into the system and get them into the system. And I also do PAL card justifications. And I'm still considered a buyer, but I'm really not making the decision on which vendor to actually purchase from. So, but I'm still classified in the buyer role. At least that's what I've been designated on the trainings and things. So just to get some clarification, because I don't usually make the vendor selection. So isn't that just predominantly the buyer role and not necessarily my role?
So no, the decision maker role is who is selecting the vendor, right?
That's
They're the
and that's
ones
the buyer
making,
too, isn't it?
not in our procurement terms. The buyer for the purpose of our UCI Buy Plus is actually, and you are considered a department buyer because you're helping facilitate the actual purchase for the decision maker. So you're designated as your department buyer.
So I'm an assistant basically for the purchaser, essentially, is what that is. Correct? And this is, and I'm just saying because this is expands my duties for this particular position. So I need to have to kind of justify that with my supervisor to say it's going to take an additional amount of time to actually put some of these mechanisms into place, especially at the beginning when it's new. And is that accurate?
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
you're going to find it to be pretty intuitive once you
Okay.
get trained on it. And again, it's a new system. There's going to be some hiccups along the way, but uh, we think that it's been designed really nicely for the end user. And there's been a lot of testing from other departments and some of the core team and functional teams. So I think you'll be pleased with the new process because it's all integrated in one system versus going in multiple systems
Okay.
now.
All right. Well, thank you. I just am looking at this from other trainings I've had with other different, besides financial trainings, about systems that have been changed. So that's just kind of a leading question on that one, and I appreciate you answering that for me.
Of course. Does anyone else have any questions?
Not so much a question, but a comment, Doreen.
Sure.
So in UCI Buy Plus, um, in the supplier lookup, there is a diversity classification column. So whatever the supplier has designated themselves as in PaymentWorks does come over to KFS, and there's also that data comes over or will come over to UCI Buy Plus at the supplier level. So I just wanted folks to know that if they wanted to search that way, um, there are those familiar terms, et cetera. So if they don't have one, it'll say none. And if they are, let's say, LBE, large business enterprise or whatnot, all those labels will be available for filtering, et cetera. So,
Great. And I do want to just really make an important note. Just because they had it when they registered and use in PaymentWorks does not mean that they still have that certificate. So it's on to the department buyer to make sure that that certificate is still valid. Okay. We had another question for purchase orders where a small business first waiver was obtained. If a contract is being renewed with that vendor, does the new waiver need to be filled out? Or if that vendor has not obtained a small. So let's get them certified first. If they cannot get certified, then we can request for a new small business first waiver. Again, these are only granted on an exceptional basis. So if there is a small business out there that we know can do the work, chances are it's going to get returned to you and you're going to have to select a new supplier. Okay. Um, I'm going to turn this over now to Manhattan Stitching. Again, if we have any additional questions at the end, we can go through more small business questions, but I do want to give some time to Corey and Luis from Manhattan Stitching. They are one of our certified small business is for our promotional items and one of our platinum sponsors for the supplier showcase. So I'd like to introduce Corey and Luis right now. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having us and allowing us to kind of share our company. One thing we kind of want to lead off with, because I don't know how many people are going to be able to stay through the whole presentation. We have two types of giveaways that we're doing, just kind of like a little incentive. We're going to be Louise is going to be sending a link where we're going to be giving out to each and every person that's on this call an opportunity to either choose an embroidered hat, an embroidered beanie, or an embroidered workout towel. And you can personalize it with your department. And that's for everyone. And we're going to have that link set up and you can just, it'll be in the chat. And then you can take that and you can choose and then just send that over. So we can kind of show you some of our good work that we do and give out something, a nice little gift for everyone. We're also going to be offering a raffle for everybody too. We have a pretty strong relationship with the Los Angeles Clippers. We're one of their main vendors. So with our sponsorship, we have courtside seats, literally third row from the court with all-inclusive dinner, drinks, everything. So we're going to raffle out a set and that'll be to like a mutually agreed upon game. It's like an incredible experience. If you haven't been to the Intuit Dome, you'll have, so whoever wins this will have the best time. So just wanted to let you know that's going to be in the chat. And let me kind of just give you a little background. We've been licensed at UCI for over, I think, 18 years. I believe they're one of their preferred vendors. We are also under the diversity. We're a small business manufacturer. And what makes us unique compared to all the other licensings that are doing work at UCI is we are not a middle company. We're not a broker. We're not just strictly a promo company. We do promotional items, but we're the factory. Our shop is in Buena Park, California. We have one of the largest production facilities in California. We do everything in-house. We're members of the Fair Labor Association, Ethical Supply Chain, and it kind of gives us a really good advantage of bringing down costs to all the departments that order from us. And we do both embroidery, screen printing, promotional items. And in our presentation, I'll kind of go through some of these things. So Louise, if you want to hit the next page. So we do embroidery in-house. We have a pretty large embroidery department. With that, it allows us to do pre-production samples, sew outs. If you want to see it beforehand, we offer that. We're not a broker, so everything is done in-house. We can turn things around within 24 hours. When customers ask us what our turnaround time is, we kind of bounce it back and say our turnaround time is the date you need it. You tell us the date, that's the date. We're going to do it, and we don't charge rushes. We also offer free delivery for all screen printing embroidery. So we are delivering on campus literally sometimes every day, twice a day, depending on the times and when we're finishing jobs. Louise, can you get to the thanks? We also do screen printing in-house. For t-shirts, sweatshirts, sweatpants, things like that. We're also licensed at UCLA. We're also licensed at Cal State Fullerton. So we do a lot of collegiate screen printing and embroidery. Okay. Louise, do you want to share this?
Yes, the next slide, please.
Oh, the live printing. You skipped it.
Oh yeah, it's coming up, right? The next slide.
Yeah, it is. Go ahead. It's up.
Oh, it's not coming up on my screen. Sorry. So live screen printing really turns your merchandise into an experience, not just a regular giveaway. Instead of like handing out a T-shirt to students, uh, you can hand us a t-shirt out to the students instead. It becomes more of a meaningful piece, something memorable, and a live screen printed item tends to be kept for a lot longer, as a memory piece. So I think it's a really great way to market. And if you really want to turn your merchandise into an experience, live screen printing is definitely a good way to go. I think it would work well. You can go on to the next slide, please.
We also have a promotional item department. So the way it works with promotional items, all the licensees go to the same exact suppliers. No one has a different supplier than each other. The difference is what makes us unique is we don't have sales reps. So most of the licensees at UCI, they're promo companies with sales reps, and the sales reps get a huge percentage of that order. We pass on that savings straight to the departments. So where the normal markups are 50, 60%, we're at like 30%, 20%. We also work backwards. We're constantly asking departments what their budget is, where they need to be at. We do that with screen printing, embroidery, and promotional items. One big thing that's happening right now is just budget cuts, right? Across the board. And everyone has relationships. So probably the people on this call, the departments that are not using us, you have a relationship with another vendor, you've been happy with them. And I totally understand that, respect that, the loyalty. At the end of the day, no one is going to be lower with the highest quality than Manhattan Stitching Company. They can't compete with us because we're passing the savings. So those dollars are going to be stretched a lot wider and longer by using us. And it won't be on the first order where I'm trying to get your business. It's consistently on every single order. I've seen departments where I'll bid and there was a bid for like 10,000 totes and I was $10,000 less than their last vendor, but because they had a relationship with the vendor, they still ended up going with a higher price. Again, that's their prerogative. I respect it. I understand that. But that's a lot of money to leave on the table of funds that can be used for so many other things. So when you're thinking about ordering and you're just wondering what's another price? I want to see what this company can do. Reach out to us. We have about 200 five-star reviews on Yelp. We have a stellar reputation. I'm the owner. Most of the people you're going through again, sales reps and middle people, and the owners are kind of behind the scenes. I'm right in front. Everyone has my cell phone. You could text me. We really mean it. We try to be like a 1950s small business, but giving you a five-star reputation, like a five-star pricing. So we're not sacrificing the pricing by giving you this great service. Louise, do you want to get to the next slide? This large format printing, Louise, do you want to share?
Yeah. So large format printing is really great for, any type of recruiting events, conferences, campus programs, anything, when you want to produce a high visual, something to really elevate the credibility of the departments. We do a lot of different banners for different departments, signage. It can really help with your event. It ensures that your message is clear, visible, and aligned, whether that's indoors in a lecture hall or outdoors, on campus or on a offsite event. Large format printing, banners, table covers, event tents, the whole run through. I'll also share a link of that on the chat so you can see all the different items that we have available. Again, we're really price conscientious, like Corey mentioned. If there's a price that you need to be at, we'll definitely work our pricing, and we're really competitive in that aspect too. So, any types of banners or large format printing needs, feel free to contact us.
And sublimation, Louise?
Yes. So sublimation is really good for the athletics departments, any club sports or student organizations that want to get some more of a professional level uniform without limitations. It's good This is done from scratch. You know, they're cut and sewed together. Most of these are 100% polyester items, but you know, any needs for any branded merchandise or any esports programs, which is really huge right now, or departments, you know, we can definitely help with that as well.
We also have a cut and sew department, so we actually can manufacture
That's
stuff
the next slide.
in-house. It's in the slides up, please.
Oh,
And
the next
yeah,
one.
we got it. And so we do that also in-house. We started that. We also can do things overseas on large quantities. So the cut and sew in-house is if it's like a unique item that you're looking for that we just can't find from one of our suppliers. And what's great is we have small minimums. You don't have to order 500 or 1,000. We can cut and sew 25 pieces, 50 pieces. If it's something unique that you've seen out there that we can't present from just one of our suppliers that have it over the counter, we can actually make it. And then when it comes to overseas production, we do a ton of overseas for UCI Health, UCLA Health. They have partnerships, you know, with the Ducks, with the Lakers, with the Dodgers. So on large quantities, if we have time, all our factories have been vetted. So they are all sweatshop free. We've done internal audits, independent audits on these factories. We have one that we've used for 20 years that have been just producing incredible stuff. The savings is substantial. So if you have, 12 to 16 weeks and you know in advance, or even 12 weeks, sometimes 8 to 12, depending on the season. With the Chinese New Year, we have to be conscientious on that because all the factories are closed. We can, where a typical hat would be an $8 hat, all of a sudden that same hat's going to be a $3.50 hat. So you on a 10,000 piece order, that's a $50,000 savings. It's a really great way if you do have the time. We can source things overseas. And next, okay. And then here are just customers that we've worked with. We work with a lot of universities. We work with a lot of colleges. We're also grassroots. I live in Irvine. I'm literally the main vendor for the city of Irvine. We do work for like the middle schools, the elementary schools, the high schools, Spirit Wear. So we have a pretty large company, but then we also work on a small level where if somebody needs 10 aprons, we treat that 10 apron like it's a 5,000 shirt order. It doesn't make a difference. We appreciate that order. We'll make sure it looks great, hand delivered, branded perfectly. We work with a lot of nonprofits, and then we also work with, again, cities. We're the main vendor of probably around 15 cities all around Orange County, like Long Beach, Mission Viejo, Cypress, Buena Park. So we do a ton of cities. And of course, I had mentioned the Los Angeles Clippers. We have a relationship with the Lakers recently. We started working with their equipment management team, which is kind of interesting. They just found they heard about us with the person that used to work at LMU as an equipment manager. So because we do all the LMU athletic apparel, they provide us and we brand it for them. And he's now working for the Lakers. So we're literally getting like one jersey and having to tackle twill like LeBron James on it, or if a new player gets signed on and it's one or two pieces, but we're like, hey, this is cool. Now we're doing some Laker gear. So we have some great relationships, great customers. Wild Rivers, which is, in our community, we do all their work. And again, just kind of a recap, we do everything in-house. We also have an in-house art department. So if you need any help with art, we don't charge for that. So we can create any art that you need. If it's a cool design, something that you just, you're maybe struggling or somebody doesn't have the abilities to work on some of the art programs, we can create that. We are in Buena Park. If anybody would like to visit our factory, it's pretty cool. We'll give you a walkthrough. It's a pretty cool factory. We have 48 incredible people that work at our company, and we're just grateful every day. Their family, they've been with us. My wife and I started this company 25 years ago. The reason why it's Manhattan Stitching Company, people ask, Manhattan, New York? No, Manhattan Beach. I actually bought a small little embroidery shop. It had a small, like a 4-head embroidery machine with one employee back in, it was a 2002. we just started it from scratch, and then we started to add the screen printing. We used to contract out the screen printing, and then I'm like, no, I want to do the screen printing in-house. So that's when we kind of built out the factory in Buena Park. And now we merged the Manhattan Beach location with Buena Park, and we went from like two people working with us to now 48 people. So we're really fortunate. We love what we do, and I think we really do a good job. And again, we can really help with the budgets. And I know that, it's getting harder and harder. I'm getting calls all the time asking for, hey, can you help us with this? Can you keep the price down on this? And at the end of the day, we can work on a much smaller margin than the other licensees because we do all the production in-house. So that really gives us the competitive advantage with that. So, and then if there's any questions, let me know. Especially for free samples.
So I'm going to read it out loud,
Oh, yes.
just because we are recording this. So what is your return policy, especially for free samples? A parent volunteer of Spiritware committee of my child's high school returned the free samples. The parent volunteer was told to pay for the free samples.
So the way it works is we pay for samples. Our suppliers won't take them back, typically on one piece, two pieces. So we pay for the shipping, pay for the samples. We'll give samples out. What we try to do is just ask the parents to use them towards the order. So what we'll do a lot with a lot of elementary schools, Spiritware, jogathons, even departments at UCIs will do a sizing kit. And we'll order a sizing kit because people will not know the exact size they will be in a specific item. So I encourage that. And then we'll send a size small through XX. And then we just use those pieces. Now, hypothetically, if you don't have a XX in the order, we'll just throw that in. So we're not going to charge you for that. You're not ordering it. You don't need it. It's one piece. I'll just probably embroider and screen print it and just add it into the order. So we typically just ask for those items to be used towards the order. Now, if you don't like that item and you go, well, we're not using it, that's fine. We'll order we'll order other samples. I won't charge for those initial samples, and we'll get you to the items that you want. And then those samples that you like that we eventually lock in, we just ask to use those if you can towards the order.
Thank you, Corey. Any other questions? And if people don't remember, Luis is actually the one handing out the amazing blankets at the supplier showcase. So
yeah, we always at the showcase, it's a challenge now because we've stepped up the giveaway, and we're just trying to do something that's special, versus like another mug or a pen or a tote bag. So we came up with the blanket, which is going to make it more difficult next year because we want to kind of wow everybody with the giveaway. And then you know what? We had a couple departments who got the blanket and they ended up ordering the blanket. And then when I told them the price, I think we priced it out at like $15 with a logo or so, around that price. They're like, what? I thought it was a $30 blanket. And I'm like, nope. They were surprised. But we ended up getting multiple orders from that show just specifically on that blanket. So we're brainstorming for next fall what will be the next nice giveaway because we appreciate Doreen allowing us to be part of that. And really showcasing our company and just showing, being able to showcase our products and things that we're able to do.
we love having you guys, and thank you so much for your platinum sponsorship year after year. We really appreciate that.
Yeah. So if anybody has any projects coming up, again, screen printing, embroidery, promotional items, just send, Louise is sending information you'll have information on our email about, our direct email, how to connect with us. Just email me direct. You can email me, email Louise, and we will, we'll get you a price. We'll get you options. We can get you samples. And we'd love to be your one-stop shop for all your screen printing and promotional item needs.
Great. Any other questions for Corey or Luis? And they just put their email. So it's Corey@manhattanstitching.com and Luis@manhattanstitching.com. Those are in the chat.
Well,
Okay.
thank you, Doreen. Thank you, everybody, for hearing us out and just learning. If you haven't heard about us, learning a little bit about our company. So,
Thank you.
and we're a family business. My wife does all the back end HR, accounting. So we've been working together, happily married for 20, almost 25 years in the business together. So
Amazing. Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks again.
Thanks,
Uh,
everybody. Have a great rest of your week.
Thank you. And then I do want to drop the survey in here. So if you have a chance, please fill out the survey. It's our way of improving on these training sessions. And hopefully we can get tailored content for you for the next training session. And that's it for our presentations today. Thank you so much.